Oh, I'm gonna turn on one light. Hang on.
What kind of monitors are those behind you?
What's that, bud?
What kind of monitors?
These ones or these ones?
Those ones, yeah.
They're
Back there.
M Audios.
M Audio, I thought so.
BX8A. They're very great. And there's a 10-inch sub down there too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
It's good. It's a nice place to do work. All right. Welcome to the Shiftheads Podcast. I'm Shane Hewitt. ShaneHewitt.ca to connect with me, Shiftheads.ca for the entire Shifthead community, and HandyAndyMedia.com to connect with the one, the only, Handy Andy Barrar, who is here. Happy New Year, my friend.
Happy New Year. I haven't talked to you since last year.
It's been a while, and we've had a couple of weeks off. You're getting ready to go on a road trip down to Vegas. Now, if I know Handy Andy in Vegas, we've heard some stories in the past about your shenanigans in Vegas. Are we looking forward to another kind of Handy Andy trip, or are you all business?
I think I used to try to work hard and play hard at Vegas, but I'm getting older. This will be like my 13th, maybe 14th CES. Like, I've lost count how many. I think the first one I went to was in 2011, and I've been going ever since, and I've gotten into some serious shenanigans in Vegas. The highlight still was that meeting OJ in a dive bar. Nothing will top that. That's like a scene out of the Hangover movie.
It is a scene out of
Beers with OJ Simpson. It is literally a scene out of the Hangover movie. So that was the year I wasn't even trying to get in trouble. It was the last day. All the tech freelance journalists were like, come on, we're going to go to this bar. You got to come. Next thing you know, I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, that guy looks like OJ Simpson. And next thing you know, I'm having beers and stuff. So I'm going to try to be on my best behavior, Shane. I got a lot of things that I want to see. I'm going to create a lot of content. I'll be doing it for Best Buy Canada. So they have a YouTube channel. So they're going to take all this content that I'm sending them and then upload it so that people can see all the latest and greatest tech that's coming out of CES 2024.
So it is an exciting time to go. There's so many cool things that are happening right now. We'll touch on some of the technology pieces here in just a bit. I mean, you are a nerd. I mean, that you've shared it with us before. You've shared your over dorky, nerdy heart with us about all these things that you love. So going here, and when Mike Yanni was filling in, I mean, we jokingly called you're like a squirrel, right? Shiny things, you get so excited, especially blinking lights, like you really do. Yeah. But there's a reason there, like you do love it. Tell me about the love for technology first, because we make jokes here and back on the radio show about, your automated watering because the DIY, you want to figure it out so you don't have to do it anymore. But really there's a deep rooted part of you that's a big part of this.
Yeah, well, I've always loved technology since I was a little kid, and it's weird. Like, I've been in the industry for a long time, and as you get older, you're like, I still want to do this. And then I go to CES, and then I see it, and I'm back in it, and I get really excited for technology because I kind of get a preview of where technology is heading. Now, the thing about CES is you see a lot of things that are big hypes, like this is going to be revolutionary. I'm thinking about 3D televisions. I'm thinking about curved televisions. I saw all that at CES. And at the time, and so I've got a good radar, I think, Shane, of what is going to be hot and what is not, what's just kind of like a little fad that the tech companies are trying to push us. But this year, it's going to be unlike any other year because in November of 2022, this new thing called ChatGPT came on the scene. We had CES maybe about a month after that last year. So we were talking about using it, but how much has changed in 1 year because of this new technology that's called artificial intelligence? It was the first time we actually got to play around with it, Shane. Like, the AI has been running in the background, but because we got to play around with it this year at CES, everything is going to have AI attached to it. And I think that's what I'm going to expect. A lot of it might be hype, but I'll be interested to see what actually works. And then have they, made issues with that whole privacy concerns and where their data is coming from and who owns that data. So I'm going to be asking a lot of questions on that show floor.
Well, that was going to be my next question too, is it going to be overwhelmingly AI and the categories at CES. I mean, there was all kinds of things that you would think. There's travel and tourism, there's cars and technology, there's the basic home technology like you talk about. They're going to have, I'm sure someone's going to have some amazing air fryer that scratches your butt all at the same time, right? There's your health, there's food, there's fitness, all of those parts are there. But AI is, even though it's its own category, it used to be a category of, here's our little robot. It drives in circles. It's not like that anymore. And maybe it's too much. Maybe is it going to take away from everything else when everybody's like, well, our AI, I mean, Twitter X has got their new Grok AI that's built into the app now, and it's everywhere. And I know you like the shiny things and the blinking lights. Well, AI doesn't blink very much. And does that take away from some of the spectacle?
I think so. I think I'm going to be tired of talking about AI after this week that in Vegas, because they are essentially saying, if you don't put AI as part of your product that you're selling, that you might as well not show up, because that's going to be the big theme. Now, I'll give you a couple examples of stuff that I've already heard about that's going to be announced there. An AI-enabled fridge. You're probably wondering, why do I need an AI fridge? Well, this fridge has a camera that's inside it. It can identify all the different types of food. It has pictures, it has a catalog in the back end, and it can identify what foods you're putting in there, when you put it in, understand the expiry dates of those, and then make suggestions on a front screen with recipe ideas. You can select the recipe. It opens up maybe a YouTube video. So that's one example of how a company like Samsung is going to try to introduce and push AI in the kitchen,
Yeah, that's
but
how
also
it
in
sounds
the
like it works for
bathroom.
us too, right? Like for the kitchen. I mean, that's something that works for us. Maybe a little bit of help with
Maybe.
you say, look, I
Yeah.
want to reduce my calorie count. What do I got? What do I make? I mean, maybe that helps out. Or maybe I want to get, the Uncle Andy's secret family recipes. We connect our fridges, in your mom's favorite dish. And I say, well, I want to do Andy's mom's dish. What can I do here? I mean, so that sounds like it could make our lives easier. Sorry, you were going to say about bathrooms.
Now, here's the thing. Sorry, but here's the thing, Shane. That's going to be in Samsung's ecosystem. Are they going to allow it so somebody else has a different fridge and you
Right.
can send that? No. And that's always been the problem about tech, is they think, especially the big companies, the LGs, the Samsung, they try to create ecosystems within themselves. But as a consumer, we don't just subscribe to just one brand. And I'm trying to like get them to understand that and be more collaborative with the other companies if you want everybody to start adopting these new high-tech appliances. But as I was saying, the bathroom AI example, you're going to have an AI connected toothbrush that
Hmm.
is going to start analyzing how you're brushing and then give you feedback and suggestions. Maybe you're missing one area. Well, you're going to have a toothbrush in the future that's going to be able to analyze that.
Well, here's my suggestion for you to make $1 million. Toilet paper roll holder with AI on it that
Yeah,
lets you know
love it.
before you go to the bathroom on your watch, because it's reading your health and your temperature's up and you're walking a little faster to the bathroom. And it tells you on the way, pick up another roll of toilet paper. See, that to me
Yes.
seems like a
Yeah.
genius use of AI.
Well, here's the thing about toilet paper, right? When you're out of toilet paper, whatever you got going on in your life, you drop it to get some, right? And we saw that when with the pandemic, people were like, well, if I don't have toilet paper, they're freaking out. So I totally agree with you. And Amazon had tried to do something like that with those little buttons. They wanted to put these buttons around the home of typical products that you use so that when you need a new one, you just press the button is attached, it knows you want to buy that item, and then boom, it gets delivered to your house. People haven't adopted that yet. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how AI is incorporated. But the other issue is what's going on. You're already seeing with OpenAI about the data, because they're scraping the internet on these websites and they're not compensating those websites. And they created ChatGPT 4, which is an actual product that you have to have a subscription to. So it's going to be I'm going to be a skeptic and ask people these hard questions when it comes to AI, because these issues really need to be addressed if we're going to start adopting them in the future.
Well, let's spin that back to a topic that everybody knows about, and that's sharing business and news links on Facebook, right? Everything that we've seen, you can't share your favorite news channel on Facebook because their articles are blocked because they're not paying. They're making money by putting ads in front of it, everything else. That's essentially what we're talking about. So the way AI works with scraping that Andy said was that the scraping will basically, when you go to a website, we talked about recipes and you want a recipe, You go in and there's an exchange that happens. You type in myfavoriterecipeplace.com and then you search for beef stew. And then all of a sudden it comes up beef stew. That's the exchange. Everybody knows the exchange that's happening. You want info, I will give it to you for free because this is how we do it. What AI does with scraping and other scraping tools, I mean, I've had websites that use scraping in the past, but they don't go ask for a beef stew recipe. They just take a shovel and they take the entire database and just suck it back. And then now they have all of the recipes all the time. And then they use that to deliver the AI. That's why everybody says, well, this is great, but when do I get compensated for them distributing my secrets around the world?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why you're seeing it's called the API. So you're seeing companies like Twitter, X now, also Reddit, close their API. And if you want to get access to it, you have to pay to get access to that data. And it's all because of what OpenAI did by scraping the internet and then creating a product. You have to remember, OpenAI was like a nonprofit originally when it first came and first started, when it was first founded. But a lot has changed since then, and they're trying to make a buck. And that's why there was so much drama on the board at OpenAI, but they opened up a big can of worms with AI. Sam Altman, by the way, the founder who's like everyone's talking about, one of the probably big leaders in tech, he's not even going to be at CES, but everybody's going to have AI, all because of what him and OpenAI did last year.
The imagery that's being used on the CES website is all AI generated pictures, which is a fit for everything that is AI that's going on this year. My buddy Chad has put through for the beard company some AI images of him and I and all those things. And
Nice.
and
Yeah.
they did. And AI thinks we're a lot better looking than we really are. Can tell you that.
Yeah.
Right. But it's an interesting place. Are we going to see fatigue, do you think, in all this stuff? I mean, you're even talking about now, be a skeptic, ask questions, marketing tactic or legitimate tool. There is no doubt it is a legitimate tool. But at some point here, we're just getting kind of sucked in. Although I was told, and I thought this was great advice, consider AI to be like electricity or the internal combustion engine. It is and the internet. It is the next big benchmark of change in our lives. And there was a lot of people back in the day when electricity was getting put in houses, they wouldn't go into those rooms because of the mystical and the voodoo and all the things that was rumored to be electricity. So are we burning out of it already, do you think? Or are we just getting excited and maybe we're just being too hashtag biggest thing on the internet?
You know, I think that's why I'm going to CES to find out. I'm kind of tired of AI. It's just everywhere, right? But I understand, like, on the back end, the utility of AI, but I'm really skeptical when you have consumer products with their own proprietary AI because of those questions I was asking. Where's you getting your data? Are you studying me and getting to know me? And what are you going to do with that? And then they're going to try to turn around and then you have to pay for that AI, a subscription. For example, you have smart security cameras right now. You buy them. You pretty much have to get a subscription if you want to store that in the cloud and also to take advantage of the AI features. So these cameras can detect when a dog comes rather than a human being and not alert you, but you're going to have to pay for that feature. And I think that's the big issue that I have with AI is they're just, we have subscription fatigue right now. We can't be getting more subscriptions, especially AI subscriptions.
Well, we can. Steve Stebby and I were talking about the Amazon subscriptions that have gone up. The price has gone up for Amazon if you want to watch Amazon Prime without ads. And that would be another great example of that.
Yes.
This might be too cerebral or existential for what this is about CES, but class separation comes to mind for me. Because typically people who are from poorly funded areas, less jobs, lower paying jobs, as opposed to areas of the country that are better funded, better jobs, better infrastructure, healthcare, you name it. Those people slide very quickly into, class separation in a big way. And it is so difficult to get out of that. You just can't afford to even move, let alone get out of that. When they start charging for AI, I mean, it was one thing to be, a 50-year-old 20 years ago and not really get in the computer game. Then you have these people that are trying to function on Facebook on a tablet or something now today. but they don't have any of the core bits of how computers work. Young generation, they make videos on their phones that professionals couldn't make 10 years ago on full suites. With AI, and when AI becomes a subscription, do you really think that this is going to do anything other than rocket accelerate the people that can afford it and leave behind a big segment of the population?
That's exactly it. And that's what I'm afraid of. It's that if you're willing to pay and you have the means to pay, you're going to get ahead, both just everything in your occupation, in your daily life. But if you think about it, even fitness now, you got these AI like tracking apps, right? That can like analyze your metrics and give you a personalized workout plan, but you got to pay for that. And you know, I worry about that. And that's why I don't like this trend. Well, I remember the olden days. You just buy a product and you liked it, you used it, and then later on, maybe you buy a new one. But when they're about to buy the product, they got that razor business model where they try to get you the product cheap, and then they try to make you money off you from the subscriptions. And then, of course, they're using a lot of AI on the subscription. For example, Adobe Premiere,
Yeah.
which is a creative suite for editors and like it's got Photoshop and to edit videos. There's a way they have a whole thing about people who can't afford it. And when you try to like unsubscribe, they'll start offering you discounts, right? And try to like lure you and keep you back in and retain you as a customer. When we have AI, they're going to do that. The AI is going to be analyzing us to retain us as customers. It's just going to get out of control for me.
Yeah. Well, I
This is
might
why I
even
think I
know,
might become a gardener one day and just
right?
start like get a
Living in
farm
the
and
woods.
leave.
Well, I mean,
Yes.
let's talk about a couple of those things quickly. Printers did that for a long time, right? Like you spend $100 on the
Absolutely.
printer, but it costs you $300 to replace the ink, right?
Yeah. What are you going to do, right? What are you going to do? You got this printer now and you need the ink.
You can
They buy
nobody can replace it except for that company because it only
And
fits.
they make subscriptions for printer ink now too. They're like, oh, we have AI built into the printer. We'll just order another one for you,
Yeah.
you know? And you think that's a great convenience, but they're locking you in.
They lock you in. And then, I mean, you look at the echelon bikes and all those kinds of things. These are my words, not yours, but you go spend a few $100s on a bike, but it's just a normal bike unless you get
Yeah.
the subscriptions, and you only can maybe turn up and down the tension, if that, unless you
That's
are
right.
subscribed and plug it in. And so
Yes.
it's not even like
Yes.
you go buy it anymore and it's yours and you can use it for 20
Yeah.
years and then it finally
Yeah.
dies and you're like, I got good life out of that thing. It's the same conversation though as heated steering wheels, and some of the car companies doing subscriptions
Yeah.
for heating steering wheels.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is though, is when you're buying the car, you're buying the whole car. Like it comes with all the features. Yours is just turned off. Like you've paid for the same features on your $20,000 car as that guy did on his $50,000 car. The only difference is that yours are turned off. You have them, they just don't let you use them. And we found that out recently when my son bought an Apple, an insert for the Apple CarPlay that fits in his
Yeah.
BMW. BMWs for have, until the big screens came out, always had a separate screen. It was called iDrive. All the car companies had them in their own version. And that screen, there was no real stereo anymore, right? So you couldn't just replace your stereo. You had to use that system. Well, these companies now have licensed this technology because it's older, and you can basically take out the old screen, put in a big new screen that's even bigger, nicer, looks more polished, and
Yeah.
it will use the iDrive system as a feature, and then it will use CarPlay or Android Auto and all those different bits, and it looks like you have a brand new system in the car. Now, here's the thing: when he put that into his car, all kinds of features actually turned on that he didn't was able to use before. He was able to use it had a CD player, so you could use skip and scan and all the things on the CD player. But then now when he put that in his car, it all worked on his phone. That didn't work before. It was disabled with the phone connection.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden it starts working. So there's an awful lot. Like, I'm a capitalist. Go make your money. But it can't be this way where it's just on the backs of everybody. And I don't understand. I don't know about you. When I was in Vancouver late last year, and I went to Costco and I saw the number of those Model Y Teslas in the parking lot. Like, you have to
Mhm.
understand, if you've never been to Vancouver, it's disturbing the amount of Teslas that are ever white Teslas.
Oh,
You'll
yeah.
get passed by 10 in a row.
Yeah.
And I don't have no idea how people afford this life, Andy.
Yeah. I know. It's but it's like it's not even original, right? When you have a Tesla, it's just like you're just like keeping up with the Joneses. I think
Yeah.
you got wealth and you're like, oh, I got to get an electric. It has to be a Tesla. It's like a status symbol.
Mhm.
But to your point about products and how they don't make it, the last one that they made really good, and the product was so good, they pretty much like are out of business because nobody needs it anymore because they got one. It was Instapot.
Mm.
Instapot works so well that company had like they had all the sales, soaring sales. Everyone has one. They don't need one. It doesn't break. They didn't innovate, and now I think they're out of business. So and it was a Canadian company
Yeah.
too. But
Yeah.
that was the example. But in this day and age, you just can't make a great product. You have to make one that suddenly breaks down after about 2 years. So you buy another one. And I don't like that trend. It's not good. It's just a lot of e-waste because of that. They could make modular phones. Apple can make a modular phone where you just take the battery out, put a new one in, take a screen out, but they don't want to do it, Shane.
No.
They just don't want to do it.
The article about the radiation in France, right? It was an older iPhone 2 or 3 generations ago.
Yeah.
In France, they lock down everything. Food is heavily regulated, all that stuff. Like if you are celiac, I've heard stories anyway, that people that are full blown celiac in North America can go over there and eat anything. So,
Wow.
It's totally different, right? The genetically modified stuff is completely different. And the iPhone they basically said, you have to stop selling this iPhone here. It's not allowed. It's too much radiation. The response was, we can change that with an update.
Software update. Yeah.
So wait a second. And this is very conspiracy of me. Forgive that part. But if they can turn down radiation with a software update, that means they could turn it up, right? Like that's how much control you're talking about. That's wild.
Yeah. And if you look at all the stats right now about even just smartphone, everyone has to have a premium smartphone. It is really the proverbial status symbol. It's your Cadillac of this generation, right? To have a blinged out smartphone. I heard the stories that some women won't date a guy if he's on Android, right?
Oh,
Because they
no,
want that
really?
green. Yeah, yeah. And they're like, oh, I saw this video online. They're like, would you date a guy if you got a blue check? She's like, oh no. So it's like, then people look down upon you just because you're on the other side of the fence.
That's
It's
crazy.
ridiculous.
That's crazy.
Those companies are just laughing at us,
They are.
That's I'm
I'm sure
telling
they
you,
are.
man, Shane. I might become a farmer one day and just be like, I'm done.
Well,
never
this
know.
comes from the guy that's going to CES. He's going to go check out the
I know.
technology, find the bits and pieces that actually do work in our lives, enjoy the parts that are just so spectacular, but they're not likely to happen, and come back and tell us about all the bits and pieces of it. There, we've had some requests on the Facebook group to get some more skipping, some jump rope
Really?
videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Of Handy
Okay.
Annie.
Yeah.
So, don't let the shift heads down, buddy. Can't do that.
No, I won't.
Yeah.
We'll have to do a tutorial or a little Handy Andy's jump rope guide.
So
I'm trying to find
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a sponsor to do that. I'm like, give me money, I'll make this jump rope series, and then
Yeah.
everybody can lose weight.
You can reach out to me.
like I
I'll forward
said,
you to Andy.
I want to be Richard Simmons, the modern day Richard Simmons with the rope. That's it.
Have you ever considered going to pharmacy school? You do a pretty good job of that one.
That too, yes. I'm branching out, Shane. I'm branching out.
That's so good. So when can we look forward to? Probably a week and a bit, hey, before you're back here with us?
Yeah. So maybe I'll be back next week. I'm leaving tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
The show officially starts on Tuesday, ends on Friday.
Yeah.
So I'll be working a lot, and then I'll report everything that I saw. It's going to be it should be a good one, but I think I'm going to be tired of talking about AI after this week.
HandyAndyMedia.com to check out Andy. The links to his YouTube channel will be in the description. I will put that there for you. Please follow that, like and subscribe to his. Please like and subscribe to this. And if you wanted to do us a favor, we get asked all the time, hey, how can we help support you with everything that's happened since the radio show? And that's the answer right now, anyway, is to like and subscribe to the videos and share it with your friends so they can too. That's how we can start putting this stuff to good work. So please do that. Shiftheads.ca for the Facebook group. Get on that. And ShaneHewitt.ca to get in touch here with me. So like mine, subscribe to mine, Andy's too. And travel safely, my friend. We will chat with you soon.
Thanks, Shane.